So I have to make a wax to fit this engagement ring. So first I have to draw it so we know what we're doing. So there's an engagement ring, and basically I've drawn this to match it. Now what we want to do is we want to make a match that will fit perfectly up against it. So it will go here and come around and here. So that would fit right in. And then they wanted larger diamonds, so typically we do an odd number. And then we'll go down to match the same distance on both sides. So the next step is to make So I have to cut off this wax first. So when I'm cutting this line, I always cut on the left side of the line so I don't lose any of the width of the wax that's going to be made. And as you see, I'm turning this tube as I'm going so that it's equally distributed all the way around. It's very important because if you don't, you could be cutting on the top here, but at the bottom it could be narrower or wider. So to make sure it stays the same width all the way around, you follow that line and then just get it to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And normally within just about a minute or two, we're cut all the way through. So this is going to be the band. The next step is to size the ring the right size to match this one, which is a size 7. When you cut the circle inside, you can't do it like this. The reason why is because it won't make a perfect circle. So you have to be turning the wax as you're turning this at the same time. So you can see I keep it moving all the time. Then I flip it to the other side and I keep it moving. Now I know that the hole starts at about a size 4. I'm going to cut it to about a size 7. So after I've cut for about a minute, I will measure it on the ring mandrel. And I'm keeping things moving so that it stays perfectly round. Okay. So I'm still turning the wax and we're just about there. And perfect, right on a 7, right on the size 7. So it matches. The next step is to cut the angle in the side of the ring. See, the ring's too thick. This is too thick. So now we have to take a divider and reduce the size to match the size of the engagement. That up. Good. Now we're just trimming it down to make everything smooth so I can do the final process. Remember the tube we started with, and now this is where we're at. Do the curve to match into the engagement. Using Now, how do we get that even a better fit? Is the last trick, the trick of the trade. So the trick of the trade is to heat this ring to about 200 degrees, just enough to burn my fingers, but enough to melt this wax. We put it on and it melts in to a perfect fit up against this wax. So good of a fit that it melts against one side, and the other side, even though it looks identical, it won't fit the other side exact like it will this. It'll fit perfect. So now after I get this off and it cools, I'll trim it all up and finish it, and then we have a finished wax. Now using a file, I was able to grind down the wax to fit. As you can see, it fits perfect. It's an absolute perfect fit, just like a glove. Sprue to the base. Then the wax that we just carved, we're going to attach the wax to the top of the sprue. And this is a wax pen. It gets very hot, you'll see it start to smoke. And there we go. Our next step is to cast this wax into gold using the lost wax process. So I take this flask and I put the flask over the wax very gently and seal it. Now if you look inside, you can see the wax is inside there. We fill this flask with a material called investment. It looks like plaster of Paris. It's all white, and we skim it off the top. And then we let it harden for 1 hour, and we turn it over and rip the top off. And because the wax is hardened inside, the wax stays inside. And we put it inside an oven. Let me show you the oven. So the investment's now hardened, and we're going to put it into a computerized oven. So we have to take the rubber seal off, and the wax will stay inside. So take the rubber seal off. Now I'm going to put the flask inside the oven. And we turn it on. So this is a gold casting machine. So we put gold in here, in the crucible, and it heats up to 1,750 degrees. That's melting temperature for gold. So we put that gold in there, let it heat up. It's not hot enough yet, but I'm going to show you what we would normally do if it was hot. I would be wearing a suit to keep myself from burning, and we take the flask out. The flask is now at 2,000 degrees. We take the flask out, open the door, put the flask in, seal it, and then make sure the gold is melted. Yes, it's melted, and then we release the gold. Pull the handle up, and the gold shoots down and is pulled into the investment. It's been cooled for about a minute or two. So we open this up, and we should see on the top of this flask a button of gold. Hot, hot, hot gold, but it's hardened. So we take the flask out gently and submerge it in water. And when you submerge it in water, the investment, the plaster Paris type material, actually breaks all apart, almost like explodes, because it can't stand the cold water on the heat, leaving just the casted piece, the sprue of gold. So let me show you that next. I'm drying it off, washing it off. So now there's the ring, and there's this button of extra gold in the sprue. And I've already cut it off, but I wanted to show you. So what we did is we cut it right there and cut it right there, and here is the wax that we carved. It's now in gold. That's the lost wax process. The wax evaporated in the air, left an impression inside the mold. We shot molten gold into that mold, and now we have a gold ring. So now, as you remember, we went from a wax to carving a wax to now having a casted wedding band. This wedding band fits like a glove so perfectly you'd never know it wasn't made for the ring. Our next step is to polish it and set diamonds from where they end here all the way up and over. So are you ready? Here's the finished product. Custom made, one of a kind. Now let's see how well they fit together. Like a glove. How cool is that?